Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Josh. Welcome back to another toy review, and today we're here to take a look at the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem Splinter. So, of course, after reviewing all four of the Ninja Turtles, it only makes sense that you want to take a look at, the Rat Dad himself, Splinter. I mean, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? So, of course, obviously, before we go over, the bad guys, of course, we got to go over, Master Splinter. So, of course, without further ado, we're going to just jump right into the review. So, of course, as always, each of the turtle figures come in these little card backs right here. And as you can see, it shows all four of the turtles on the side. So, anytime you buy these figures, and if you ever, see like a, random character that's not a Ninja Turtle, you always get the four brothers on here. We all kind of get how that kind of goes. We look through the back. So, even though I've kind of lost most of these card packs. I don't know how, because I always keep them in one spot, but it is what it is. At least I was able to keep Splinter, so of course I do have his little bio right here. You could kind of see the nice little picture of him right there, and then of course we got the other figures throughout Wave 1. Got, the baddies right here, and then of course I did post it on the community tab that Wave 2 has been announced to be set to come out in November. Yeah, it is a pretty long time from now, but it is what it is, I guess. You know what I mean? And these toys are very, fantastic for what they are. So it's great to see that they're still making the figures and trying to at least sort of prolong it, even though it's been out in theaters for a long time. I believe the movie came out in I think August 2nd, if I remember from the back of my head, but I'm not too sure. But without further ado, let's take a look at the figure. So before I talk about like the sculpting and the paint and all that, you probably noticed how I already got him in a nice little fancy pose. You can see he got his little cane kind of going on right there. So, and you can also see the formation of his legs. So I want to talk a little bit about like his pose, like his posture first before I go on, because I can't really help but mention it. Because it did bother me a little bit, but I could kind of see what they were going for here. So obviously, I get it. He's old, so of course he's going to have to rely on that poor little cane, And of course, that's his kind of sort of main weapon, but not really. But you get the point. That's, what he uses. But the thing is with his legs, I've definitely noticed they're both not the same for sure. They're both definitely like pre-posed. It's almost like that's meant to be done on purpose. So I don't know, because unfortunately I still haven't seen the movie. I don't know for sure if like maybe he has like one leg that's like shorter than the other. I don't know. You could definitely tell just by looking at the sculpt, and you can see that that's pretty much how it is, even with his feet. And yeah, the feet actually does have articulation, which is nice, but it doesn't really move that far. So, and it does have pegs and all, the peg holes. So if you have a stance of some sort, if you want to put them on one, that's fine. But unfortunately, yeah, because of that, he's very, very uneven. So he does make it very hard for him to stand, which it's not entirely a bad thing per se, because I get it. Maybe they're kind of relying on that old, the old man aspect. Like he really, really needs his cane, because once you put it on him, he's perfectly fine. He won't have any sort of issues or anything like that. It kind of makes you feel bad for him, for sure. But I don't know. I just thought I'd point that out, because I don't want people to buy this figure and then they think that it's like messed up or something. No, I'm pretty sure that's how it is, just judging by a good majority of the reviews I've seen. And that's definitely done on purpose, because obviously, as you can see here, you see what I mean by the whole one leg thing is, taller, shorter than the other, even when you try to like pose it around and stuff like that, it doesn't really help the situation. And then, at least you have his nice little tail to kind of balance it out a little bit. But if I'm being honest with you, there's only so much that it can do before it kind of becomes an issue. And to be fair, I know that the 2012, Nickelodeon Splinter figure kind of has the same issue, but it's not because one leg is shorter than the other. It's just because his legs was like, it was like kind of like pre-pose. I think you call it an arch foot. Not too sure though. But I thought I'd just kind of point that out. And the other one can't really bend over that much. So at least there was an attempt. It's not perfect, but at least it's there. Obviously, yeah, he's very unbalanced. And my only major gripe is that if you want to pose him with any other accessories except for his cane, let's say you don't like the cane, That's gonna be a little bit on the iffy side, but at least we have everything now, everything else that's nice about him, which is of course the paint job, the way that the figure looks and all that, the sculpting. Besides the legs, still pretty good. So of course I thought I kind of zoom in a little bit right here. We look at the front of his face, and of course you'll notice that he has glasses on, which is kind of a neat touch. They're really, really, really trying to put on the idea that he's really old. I mean, I get it. That's just kind of ironic because he is voiced by Jackie Chan, so that's pretty cool. And I would say that this is perfect, but then he got the letters right there. I know that's a factory thing. I know they kind of have to do that. But what kind of makes me upset though is that if you look underneath his sort of a robe shirt thing, you can't really tell that well. But they do have like the letterings, for like the year and stuff like that. So I'm kind of surprised, they didn't find like a neat way to put it there. I really hate that they had to put that right on his back. Like I said, that's probably like a factory thing. I highly doubt that they meant to do that on purpose, but I don't know. Maybe if I buy another of the same figure, maybe that won't be there. Maybe it'll be somewhere else. I don't know. That's really hard to say, unless you really want to take the risk of like buying the same figure twice or so. But these are really cheap for what they are. Obviously, these are $10 figures, which is very good. That's actually pretty good for what you're getting. And of course, back to the sculpt. And in case you're wondering, yes, you actually can take off his glasses. So if you want to count it as a separate accessory, you can. Has that nice little like serious face going on, which I do like a lot. And of course, we look at the paint job. His fingers, and all that, they're pinkish, but the nose and the ears, they're a little bit on the lighter side. They're definitely tinted to be not brighter, but it's like the colors are very like, I don't want to call it basic either, but you get the point. A lot of the paint job with this figure seems pretty basic. At least he's still got the nice texturing like the fur and all that, so I do appreciate that a lot. You got the nice little beard. All in all, these figures do a really, really, really good job at like capturing the likeness of the characters, which is of course a very daunting task, especially considering the designs of the characters are purposely meant to be very, very wacky in a sense. Although I don't think that's done, because not only for like an artistic interpretation, but also because obviously they're mutants, so they're gonna look abnormal. So I don't know how like the rest of the humans look in the film, but you get the idea. So I'm gonna put his glasses back on. And unlike Donatello's, he actually does have a peg hole at the back of his ears to kind of put the glasses on, so you will never lose him no matter how much you try. Unlike Donnie's, where the problem with him is, I mean, they are in there, but for some odd reason, his is very, very easier to kind of lose. So be very, very careful when it comes to Donatello, which is unfortunate because he is my favorite turtle out of the bunch, but it is what it is. So one last thing about the detail, I want to talk a little bit about like the robes real quick. I like how you got like a little hole there. Kind of reminds me of cheese. I don't know, it kind of does. He's a rat, okay? He's a rat, all right? You get the point. Um, yeah, I don't know. For the most part, that seems to be my only issue with it was just the legs. I mean, I can try and pose them normally, but as you can see, yeah, not too great. In fact, while I was getting ready for the setup, I accidentally kind of damaged the background a little bit, so I do apologize. Because you guys know me, I try to be perfect, you know what I mean? I guess we can all be perfect. Yeah, so I don't know. Unless he's like that on purpose, I don't know. I'm just gonna have to leave him like that. So of course, let's take a look at his accessories. So as you can see, Splinter definitely comes with a plethora of accessories. I mean, these are very, very nice. And hard to believe that they all came from this rack. Because yes, I did make sure that this is his. Because funny enough, the pink rack, I mean, not pink, I'm such an idiot. Orange. Sorry, my mind's been all over the place. Yeah, his is actually the shortest out of the bunch. Not the shortest one. The Rocksteady has the shortest battle rack, but with Splinter, because his is orange, his is the, short within that range, so you kind of get the point. So that's kind of how I know that this is his. And we all know how this works. It's kind of like a little, I don't know. Honestly, the way I always look at these is like when you play video games and there's always like those breakable items. Usually I used to pretend that that's what it was. You just kind of hit it and that's all it was. Because you could put your weapons on it and all that, but it's just going to keep falling. And if I'm being honest, I don't want to waste too much time with that. But these are nice little accessories nonetheless. Don't get me wrong. I do like these a lot. So, I'm not going to downplay that. Never. Come on now. They're very essential. Also, if you hear my dogs barking in the background, I do apologize because my dog Lulu is going a little bit crazy right now. So let's take a look. I guess since I already showed off the cane, let's take a look at it right here. So I find it funny that the wraps here is actually, he got a little bit of the paint job going on, even though it's just mostly a orange solid color. I do like how with the textures, even though it doesn't really look like wood, they still have like those weird little like not like pressure points, but you could kind of tell that it's been slightly beat up, which I think is very great. And of course, most importantly, it also doubles as a weapon. And even look at that, even that's painted. It's like a sort of grayish kind of silver color. It's hard to say because in some angles it does look like it's a little bit silver, but even though it mostly looks like a very dark gray, that's still very good though. And what's also nice is that that's obviously meant to be kind of a callback to the original Splinter figure from the 1980s, where he came with a cane and it also did the exact same thing. It also was secretly a knife. Now that I think about it, it also reminds me of the Splinter figure from the Rise of TMNT cartoon series, where that version had like a nice long staff and you could take out the thing and it's like a nice long sword. So that's pretty cool. And what's funny is that he actually comes with two more of these, but they're actually not canes. They're actually swords or tonfas. Honestly, I don't know what they are. Because, like, I try to pose them with Splinter. I was kind of able to sort of get it under him. It's possible, but it's gonna look very sloppy. I don't know. Maybe during combat it doesn't look too bad. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a ninja warrior, okay? I can't really say for sure, like, yeah, you guys get the point. I mean, it's doable, but unfortunately, it doesn't really look right because the handle is kind of short. You're gonna get very, very awkward posing. Oh boy, I don't know. I mean, you could turn them around. I mean, it kind of works. Not exactly. I mean, it's okay. It's pretty obvious. It kind of looks like they want you to pose them like this, but it just, I don't know. It kind of looks funny. I don't really like it. I liked it better when it was the other way around, but obviously with how his hands are, it's not impossible, but it is what it is. So, good idea, but it's just not executed well. But at least we do have his other accessory, which is the bow. Even though it doesn't have the string, this is still very, very nice for sure. I still like this a lot. And let me see if I remember, because I know that there's kind of a specific way of holding it, so obviously you can kind of see how that is. You can see how one part's enlarged, and then this one is kind of short. So I'm assuming that that's probably what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to kind of line it up. I think, yeah, pretty much like that, yeah. So that way, I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way of doing it. Still pretty cool, though. I know it's weird that he don't have, like, a string kind of going on. But it is what it is. It's not bad or anything. It's just it is kind of weird. Maybe not weird to me. Okay, this is gonna come out of nowhere. This is very random. Uh, for anyone that used to play PlayStation 2 games, you ever heard of a little game called EOE, Eve of Extinction? It's a very weird, like, obscure PlayStation 2 game. It's not bad, but it was very well known for, like, its very weird gameplay and stuff like that. So there's a boss fight in the game. I think his name was, like, Dr. Zan or something like that. I don't remember what his name was. And he had, like a bow. That's what he had, but it wasn't to shoot arrows. He literally threw it like if it was a boomerang. So I'm guessing maybe that's what he was going for. I mean, maybe I don't I don't think so. I know that's completely random, but you never know. It kind of works, And he actually does look pretty cool with it. Also, I'm very surprised he's actually standing up perfectly. Okay, that's something. And of course, how the hell is he gonna be able to fight off Superfly and his gang without ammunition? Come on now. And yes, he actually does come with three bows. That's pretty cool. I like that. I love this. This also reminds me of the old Marvel Legends, like the Toy Biz era. They had like the Hawkeye and the Sky Cycle. Not the recently updated one that came out this year. I'm talking about the old version during the Toy Biz era. I remember he came with a whole bunch of arrows and stuff like that. I mean, it was kind of fun, I guess, I like these a lot though. I think my only gripe is obviously they are pretty fragile, so please don't snap them. And I do love the detailing that you could kind of see with them. Like you could kind of see like, I mean, you could tell that they're either wood or bamboo. It has to be one or the other. Also, I hope that this was okay. When I was trying to take it off the plastic tree, I actually did left a little bit here. It's like that tiny little piece at the tip that's not supposed to be there, but whatever. It is what it is. And of course, I guess if you wanted to, you could like pretend that they're getting shot or something. I don't know if you wanted to do something like that. Oof. So, sorry, Splinter. I didn't mean to. All right, all right. You know, like I guess if you wanted to be like, or I don't know. It's your imagination. Come on, these are toys. You know, well, kids' toys, but you know, I might be 22 years old, but I do enjoy these. Okay. And obviously, you know, maybe you could get them to like hang on to one. You know, you could kind of be creative with however you want it. You can even like my favorite thing to do is if you want to like pose him like reloading. So like he like if he's getting ready to like kind of shoot, and you could kind of make him hold it like that or so. You know, I had a very specific way of doing it. I don't remember how I did it exactly because it's possible that you can make him hold it kind of like that. Okay, there we go. I don't want to lose these either. I do like these a lot. You get the idea. Yeah, like that. You see, you could definitely make him do something like that if you want. So when he's getting ready to fire, you know, he'll be already set. You know what I mean? That's actually pretty good. I like that. Oh, watch out! You know, like you know. And of course, last but definitely not least, Ninja Stars. And of course, in case you're wondering, oh, it's the same one like Mikey's, right? Yes and no. Funny enough, even though it's the exact same, slightly, you know, they're actually much more smaller. They're actually not big like his are. I would do the comparison, but unfortunately, I already put it in my story, so I should have thought twice about that. So I do apologize, but just gonna have to take my word for it. You know what I mean? So of course, poor Splinter. He's tired. I'm tired. You know, it's been a long Thursday. Takes time to kind of took a little rest for today, so of course I'm gonna put him back on his cane. But he knows that Superfly's out there causing trouble, so you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna go get his bow staff and go help the sons. I guess that is pretty accurate to the film because I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, I think in one of the trailers they actually did show him with a bow and arrow. So hey, look at that. Got movie accuracy on top of that. That's very, very neat. Alright, so that's good. So, of course, at the end of every video, you guys know I have to do a size comparison, so let's get right on that. So, of course, it's comparison time. So, here he is next to the original 1988 Splinter figure based off of the animated series. So, as you can kind of see, you see like the resemblance. You see how he kind of comes with the same one. In fact, I remember being slightly confused because for a second, I thought it was actually the exact same cane, but it actually wasn't. But, you know, either way, it's nice to see, like, that evolution thing kind of going on. You know what I mean? You got the bow, you know, you got the cane. So that's very nice. And I like how they also looks pretty good in size. Oh, my God. This is a classic figure. I've always wanted this for such a long time, and I am so happy that I own it now. Because even though this toy is from 1988, I hope I remember that correctly. I don't want to piss anyone off. Because I don't want to confuse the timeline for like the TV show and then the toy line. But funny enough, this is actually the reissue, you know, of this year. So I got this at Target. So thank you, Target. You know. And of course, that's another one. Ooh, we also got the movie star Splinter, and this is the OG too. This is not a reissue. This is the actual like original movie star Splinter from the 90s, you know. And this figure came out when TMNT Secret of the Ooze came out. And as you can see all of its glory. I mean, look at that. I will be so happy the day I do a toy review of this because I generally love this figure. And as you can see, he even got the thing for the bow and arrows. Kind of makes you wish that the movies, that this newer version had it too, but it is what it is. But they're not, the arrows are not removable, obviously. And of course, he does look kind of funky because he got the realistic fur texture thing going on. So, yeah. Also be warned though, there are versions where he doesn't have that. So in case you're one of those collectors that want to get this, just thought I kind of let you know. And yes, this is the original, you know, so that way I'm going to show some proof right here. As you can see under the foot, this is 1992. Now I do have to warn you guys, do not confuse this for the movie star Splinter that came out in that pack, I think back in like 2020. Because that figure basically just reused the paint and sculpting of this Splinter. So I just kind of let you guys know. In case you have no idea what I'm talking about, if I ever do get my hands on that figure, I'll definitely review it and do a comparison. Although, it's hard to really say. I don't know when I'll be able to get it, but you get the point. So here we go. So I guess as a little bonus, here's the Big Chungus Splinter. The big fat rat. Oh, he's chunky. This is based off of the Rise of TMNT toy line. So the reason why I'm doing the comparison with him, because like I mentioned, he has the staff right here, but it also counts as a sword. And, I thought I'd just kind of show him off anyway, just because of that. Because for the most part, there has been no other Splinters that done this, except for the 2003 Splinter. Unfortunately, I don't have a 2003 Splinter, which sucks, because that's generally a nice figure. And I have more Splinters. I would do the comparison with the other ones, but I'm actually not going to. And the reason why, it's because out of all the Splinters, these are the only two, like you see how all together they got the, the cane, the bow, cane, bow, cane, bow. You see what I mean, right? All the other Splinters don't really do that, except for the 2003 Splinter, but obviously I don't have the 2003 Splinter, so I cannot do a proper comparison. But you guys know, I kind of sort of keep my promises, but not really. If I ever get my hands on it, I would definitely love to do a review. And then, of course, with the Rat Master, you gotta train your students. So here he is next to the 4 turtles, just to kind of give you guys a nice comparison. So here's Leo, here's Raph, here's Mikey. Of course, my boy, Donnie. We need Donatello, man. Come on now. He's the smart one of the group. He needs more variants. Come on now. Boy needs some respect. So there you go. So I'm gonna just kind of back up a little bit so you can see all of them together. Now that looks great. We got the whole family together now, except for April. I still need freaking April, but I don't have her, so that sucks. One day, and as you can see, he's very tiny, but that's fine. I'm gonna assume that that's how he is anyway. He's always been tiny anyway. Well, except for the 1998 Splinter, he's getting there. Well, you have to compare him to the old turtle figures, not the new ones, but you get the idea. He's pretty short, but that's fine. So you know what? That ends it right there. So that's gonna end the review. So my final verdict, I give it a 9 out of 10. So I would give it a 10 out of 10 because it is a generally nice figure, but admittedly, like I mentioned, the thing with the legs, it's a little annoying, and it does kind of hinders the figure's fun a little bit, not that much, but obviously, like I mentioned, if you want to compare him with all the other weapons, and stuff like that. Ooh, camera. Ooh, that was a close one. That'd be terrible. Yeah, but you get the idea, if you want him to hold the other weapons, it's gonna look weird, so it's like, I don't know, I think it really just depends on, like, whoever buys the figure, you know what I mean, like, maybe you're the type of collector that doesn't really care, maybe you do, I don't know, it's really all up to you guys. So, for the most part, yeah, I've reviewed all the, the good guys, not counting April, I hope I could get my hands on her one day, because it completes the team, you know what I mean. So obviously, the next toy review, here's a little sneak peek of who it might be, but I can't really say for sure because I got a lot of things on my hand. And tomorrow is going to be my first gameplay video in a long time. I'm gonna do a walkthrough of the first Sonic the Hedgehog game, from the Sega Genesis. I'm gonna play on my PS4. You get the point. That premieres tomorrow. I already pre-record, the whole playthrough, so that's going to be fun. You're going to see my weird side. Even though I'm already kind of a weird person to begin with, but you get the point. So I do want to thank you guys very much for tuning into these toy reviews. These are always fun to do. And like I say, the next figure might be, an Ultraman figure. I'm very tempted on doing, Marvel Legends stuff again, but hopefully one day, I'll think twice about it. So until then, if you like, leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, that's about it. See ya.